Okay, it's Wednesday, April 5th. This is a pre-opening SPY report about a half hour to go before the open. After yesterday's red 3 bar, we took out the high of the day before and the low of the day before, so that's broadening action on this time frame. We are starting out a little lower here. It looks like this morning you can see the pre-market range between the blue lines. Price action is kind of near the bottom of that blue range to start. So at this point, what you have to monitor is this yellow line here, which is the open of, let's look at it. It's the open of the first day of the month, of the quarter, of the week. And until we get above that line, we're going to have to just be biased a little bit to the downside and see how low the market might want to go. Not necessarily expecting any crazy move to the downside, but it's possible. So you could see the yellow line aligns with kind of the top of the pre-market range up here. So at this point, until we really get an opening, a green bar that really goes above that area and holds and heads higher, in terms of our slightly bigger picture time frame, we're going to have to stay, until we get above there. We'll stay biased to the downside and see how much of this gap action in here we want to fill to the downside. You never know. In order for things to really fail, if you look at the weekly chart, we took out the highs of the previous week. We got to get below the midpoint of that week. So we still can come all the way down here and still. But, if we end up with a kind of a shooter bar, then we'd expect a little lower going into next week. So we have to see how this week closes. But generally, you're still on the bigger picture on the monthly chart after this green hammer bar. You are expecting at some point in this month for price to continue higher towards those targets, because you really have to get down to the midpoint of this bar before the monthly bar fails. So we still have room to drop and maintain the uptrend, and those will be the exciting trades to get back into the long side. But for now, until we really break above this yellow line, the top one, this is the midpoint of the prior week, we might have to just fill in some of this gap area in here first to the downside. So we'll just see how price opens. You can see here the low. It looks like almost you want to take out these stops. It looks like a triple bottom. So maybe we take it out quickly and then reverse before the morning's over. Or maybe if we don't reverse, then expect a little lower price action. And we'll just have to see how structure unfolds. But in the bigger picture, looks like until we get above that yellow line, the open of the week, the open of Monday, we'll be biased a little to the downside and just have to kind of gauge structure, how weak things wants to get to fill in this range, anticipating some kind of a failure down that eventually turns up to get us back to the bigger picture on the monthly chart, starting up higher towards our monthly targets up here. So let's just see what today brings. Little down opening, but it's just going to be a question of where price wants to hold within this pullback before it starts up. But until then, you can play the structure to the downside, and because there's still room to drop, and it could be some good trades to the short side if structure unfolds that way.